I just bought some cheapos. I bought Fractured Butthole for like 24 used, and then I got the Adventure Time. They made a little game. I really got into Adventure Time like 3 months ago, and I just love it. I never gave it a really good shot or chance. I always thought it was more childish than it actually was. It's actually really solid.
I remember hearing about people loving that.
Well, because
I've never checked it out either.
It fills the fantasy niche good if you're just looking to literally like, I'm just in a void right now of just like, adventure fantasy, like high fantasy with like, post Game of Thrones. I need a fantasy world.
Do you know what you need that's coming out soon for Switch? Witcher.
Yes.
Yeah, that looks good.
That's one of those
it
games
looks really
that
good.
I've never played that I saw that Witcher 3's porting over and some of the like Resident Evils are porting over. So it's
Yeah.
like these games I never had a chance to play because I never had those systems. It's like, well, now because of Switch, I'll be able to play.
Dude, they have so many titles.
games.
Yeah.
Dude, it was, from the E3 that came out, it was all the games this year I was really impressed by. I mean, some of them were kind of like the Splatoon and some stuff. Like, okay,
I'll never be jazzed about Splatoon.
No.
But
But like Witcher, man, it blew me away. I was like, I've never played Witcher, and it hasn't always been a PlayStation exclusive.
no.
Or has it always been on
I
PC?
played Witcher 1 on PC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
I think,
I've never played one of those games.
I think 3 came out on PS4 and Xbox. It's out on PC. I'm playing it on PC, but it's one of those games that like I just can't. I don't know if it's the mechanics or what. Like I love the world, like the beasts and all that, like the fantasy aspect, like you were talking about. But sometimes I just get lost, and I don't know. Like I was just playing it last night for the first time. My last save was in February, so that tells you anything. Like
It's always so hard going back to a save from months previous.
I just feel so lost. Like I don't even know the controls. I think that's what deters me too. I'm just
Dude, I did that with Breath of Wild because the new DLC came out, so I bought it, and then I already beat the game, so I was like, well, where do I go from here? So I just restarted the game over, and then I played it for, I don't know, a month straight, and then I quit for like 2 weeks, and I got back to it, and I was like, oh man, I don't know how to play this damn game again. So I got that wireless controller because you're telling me how great it was, and dude, it's night and day playing the game when you have a controller compared to that little controller pad, like the little nunchucks, or what do you want to call them. Dude, it's such a deal, like a big difference. Like I guess I'm just more into controllers, so.
Dude, my controller, I don't know what happened to it. I think it was because it was sitting on top of my PS4, but I went to go pick it up, and it looks like one of the batteries like exploded or something. There's battery acid all over.
Oh, dude.
So now I put new batteries in it. Now the C-stick's all messed up. It like goes up and down on its own, so like my controller's all fucked up. But since my controller's fucked up, I've been using the nunchucks for Breath of the Wild because I was just playing that the other day, and it wasn't bad. Like at first it was kind of awkward, but then I got used to it. Like it was cool just being like I could put my hands anywhere and like just still play the game, Like I didn't have to have both hands. Like
As soon as it just felt good to you, the controls, then it's no longer you have to like hold it, then you can just literally just
it's cool.
Yeah, my
I like
favorite.
that.
Stephen Hawking style.
Yeah, my
It's like laying there. Like, oh.
my favorite thing about it was that when I'm done, if I want to bring it to bed with me, dude, I could just click them in and play the game in bed. That's my favorite thing about the Switch. I can bring it anywhere with me.
And I thought when they first came out, I was like, oh, look at this gimmicky bullshit. Like, why not just nut up and just release a true like portable? But I mean, it's hard to hate on it now because
It feels nice, doesn't it? Like
It does.
And like it docks perfectly like to your screen. Pull it out. You want to take it on the go. Like, literally. Like I've spent more time because that's what I loved about when I owned the Wii is just having the portable screen. You could flick. Like I remember playing Wind Waker, and did Wind Waker originally release on Cube or what was that?
It was on Cube,
they
yeah.
remade it for Wii, and it was just great because it's like you could flip between if you just push the touch screen, then you can just bring it local, and so you still needed to have like it would still show up on your TV being like like it's now displayed on the small screen. But I played the majority of that game like on my couch, on my bed, you know, just lounging around, playing with it, just handheld. It just felt so good. Like aiming the bow in it, you just like take the thing, and
I
just like
love that.
aim it around. Like, I wish they would have. I understand the evolution to the Switch, but I just feel like they really fucked over Wii U there. It's like, because I mean, Breath of the Wild was originally supposed to.
Well, I feel like the Wii U people kind of turned off on it because they didn't make it that many good games for it.
Well, that was it.
You know, that was the time like when those E3s came out and so many people were disappointed.
They released it at the time, just in time to release the, you know, whole new squad of your, you know, that version's Mario Kart. You know, just the standard releases that come with any Mario system. And that was it. There was like, it didn't really feel like there was much more to it, and then you see like how robust the online is now for Nintendo on Switch, and it's just like, which I appreciate now, but it's just like, I don't know, like you guys couldn't have beefed this up, like, you know, with Wii U, like.
I feel like they finally released a bunch of titles that seemed like they went back to their roots. I'll just say it's this last E3. That's what I was pretty happy about. Like all the games they showed seemed promising. I mean, they came out with 2 Zelda games. Link's Awakening looks really good.
I heard rumors that they're going to end up porting Wind Waker and Twilight Princess to Switch, the HD versions.
No way, dude.
Good. I never
sick.
finished Twilight Princess. And I
That'd
really
be cool.
want to.
I haven't played Wind Waker since
Twilight Princess was
GameCube.
cool. That was a cool ass Zelda game.
And then obviously the two new Zeldas coming out.
Yeah.
God.
The older one, I can't remember what it's called, but it reminds me like of more of a Game Boy type game.
Link's Awakening.
Not the Awakening. There's the other one. What's the other one called? I don't remember what it's called. I just keep seeing previews of it. I remember seeing it on E3, and they keep on showing previews of it like on YouTube every time I pull up a video or something. But
Older Zelda.
yeah, it's like an older Zelda game. It's like a kind of like a not like a 3D.
Oh, is it Cadence of Hyrule?
That's it. Cadence of Hyrule. Yeah.
It's a mashup of what is it called? Dance of the Crypt, or there's a game out
Necromancer.
there. Yeah,
Dance of the Necromancer.
something like that. Yeah, and they did a mashup of that game in Zelda. It's called the Cadence
So
of Hyrule.
it's not going to be a true Zelda. There's going to be like a.
It's already out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I need to take a look at this.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like I guess the gimmick of that game is you're supposed to move around with the beat of a song or something like
That's
that.
what I heard. Yeah, the beat of the song, you can like fight with the beat of the song.
Which I don't know. Like I've seen people play it, and I'm like, I just want that true Zelda experience.
I
Like,
do too.
Well, and that's what, you know, like, I've just been on guard since they released, what was it, Hyrule Warriors? That
Yeah.
one where it's just like, don't get me wrong, like, anybody who enjoys that kind of game mechanic where, was that like Dynasty Warriors,
Yeah.
where you're just like,
Running
just
around.
button mashing, just
Yeah.
killing hundreds of things. It's, for me, those kinds of games are very enjoyable for about an hour or two, but
Yeah.
then then it just starts reminding me of just like God mode on GTA. Look, I can just rocket launch anything. It's like, you know, I don't know. I just don't really get that feeling of it's like you're just mashed. I don't know.
I think one thing they did really well was the Breath of the Wild trailer for the next game. Like, I think I was expecting them just to branch off to the last one, but it seems like they're going to go a totally different direction, which is cool to me because I kind of want the more dark type Zelda game where more dungeons like that. I think that was the biggest complaint, and I don't know. I've heard from Brandon and heard from you. It's like the game was great, Breath of the Wild in the open world, but they didn't have enough dungeons, and it seemed like some of it was just a little too easy for a Zelda game. I don't know. That
It
was
seemed
just
like they were trying.
something new.
Yeah, and it seemed like they were trying to like supplement the dungeon experience with all those shrines, and like
Yeah.
I didn't mind the shrines, but it just wasn't I missed that cohesive dungeon. Like you get a new item, and then the puzzles revolve around that item. It's like Breath of the Wild. It's like here's 5 items at the beginning of the game, and every shrine you go to is going to involve these 5
Yeah.
items or whatever. You know, it's like it just didn't feel the same.
So it doesn't. I do appreciate the approach, I think, because so much, I think they put so much effort and time into
the
that world,
Yeah.
which was so fleshed out.
Yeah, it
It's a
was.
fantastic world that I think, yeah, the whole idea is it's just like, here's reasons to explore the world is these little things.
Yeah.
But in doing that, we lost like true solid dungeons, because I think anybody who's played Zeldas would argue, you know, those 4 what were they, boss fights? What do you call them? The 4 animal fights? The
Divine
big-
Beast.
The
Yeah,
Divine
Divine-
Beast
yeah.
fights. Just didn't scratch that itch. But I'll give it to them. They tried something else, and
I feel like it still worked.
it did. It just leaves you wanting more. So, and I actually heard that the sequel originally they were trying to package as more DLC, but they just came up with so much content that they decided to just turn it into a sequel.
It's good. It's a really good idea.
That's very reassuring. And look, they wanted to try something new, and I would argue it wasn't 100% successful. It was good though, but let's just see where they go from here. Because it's like if they, make the sequel and they keep the same format, more shrines, and still no like classic feeling dungeons, it's like
I think
But
they'll-
maybe they listened and they were like, it was lacking this because that's always been a cornerstone to Zelda games.
Yeah, I think they'll go back to more dungeons because I feel like they've been listening to the fans more now, Nintendo, instead of just trying to be very innovative and things were failing. I think one thing they could do too is go back to not having breakable weapons. That was my biggest thing I didn't like about the game, with the breakable weapons. I feel like it was cool going to find the Master Sword or something like that, and it was a big journey and quest to get it. And once you get it, that was just like a game changer to me. So
I feel like having like a different weapon selection feeds into that like RPG fantasy of like getting new weapons and like getting upgrades, and so in that regard I like it. Like I hated the durability system at first, but it kind of grew on me because especially in master mode where you literally have to use like every little tiny thing to your advantage. So like when weapons are limited and you're fighting hard enemies, you kind of do have to like think on your feet, and like maybe you would use bombs more than you wouldn't otherwise, like if you did have the Master Sword at that point. But I don't know, like it kind of grew on me. Like I hated it at first, but if they kept it in, it wouldn't be the end of the world for me. But from what I heard, it sounds like they're going to be reusing the same world. So I don't know if there's going to be more content, because it looks like the castle's going up in the sky. So I don't know if there's more content like underground and everything in the world's unchanged, or if they're like adding new content to the world too. Like, are all the existing shrines going to be there? Or are there going to be new shrines, or is there going to be some other new mechanic, or like are they going to turn the shrines into something else? Or
Yeah.
like if they're going to use that same world and make it bigger, like how are they going to change that world to make it feel like a new game?
That's true.
Right, utilizing the what you already have. I heard this rumor, and I hope it's true because it just sounds so cool. Is that there'll either be like a dark skew on it, like the world now has like whatever, and everything's changed for the darker.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like that previous. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Not Link's Awakening, but
I know what you're
Link to the Past.
There was one, right, where it was like was it like a dark mirror world or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was Link's So Past.
Yeah,
we could use the mirror to
so-
go dark to
So I think that would be a cool little gimmick they could probably utilize.
That
But
would be
I mean,
cool.
let's get real here. It's like that world's not going anywhere. They spent years making it.
yeah 5 years.
I can see them adding on stuff, but it would be crazy for them to start from scratch, like completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm excited for the new one. I'm excited to play some new Nintendo games though.
Dude, Animal Crossing.
I've never played an Animal Crossing. I'm so excited.
Oh,
to play
really?
Animal Crossing.
I've only played one, and I think it was the first one, and I didn't play it for very long, so I'm not like a diehard Animal Crossing fan by any means, but I know a lot of people are excited about that, and I figured you'd be excited about it because it's got that Stardew Valley vibe.
Well, ever since I have been into those games since I was a kid, it's like, yeah, I've always followed, and I just that farming sim, like little farm town sim kind of thing.
is it is it multiplayer? Like, can you play together with friends, or is it single player?
I can't speak to Animal Crossing because I never played it. And the reason I never played it is because, dude, like I have such a deficit in my just a blank spot for Nintendo and like my gaming history, because like I never had the GameCube. I was just kind of at that time in my life. Never got it. I mean, I was still playing, I think, Smash on 64 till the end of high school.
Yep.
And then just kind of moved on to PC from there, gaming. And so I was keeping up with Nintendo, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it was just like for years I was just pissed off because it was just like like, what are you guys doing? It's just like, you can't truly compare, like, hardware-wise to Xbox or PlayStation. So it's like every time you release your specs, it's like, who gives a shit? And then it's like, you're releasing the same games that you always released and yada yada. So that was my mindset. And then it was just like, I don't know, it just dawned on me recently. And I was also too, I felt burned by the Wii U, because I did buy one. And that was my first foray back into Nintendo. And like I said, so that didn't help with my attitude. But literally, like, just lately, just seeing all the shit, like, they've been doing.
I would
And
agree.
then, yeah, no, it's like, I just pulled my head on my ass and I realized it was just like, I don't know, man. It's like, I think part of the reason I hated some of the stuff they were doing, like, okay, like the stuff that they rinse and repeat. Like, they always make a, Mario Tennis or Mario Party
Yep.
or a Smash Brothers. But it's like, there's a reason they keep making those games, because those games are still fun as fuck. And it's like, and it's not like, it's the same game as it was, like Mario Tennis 64. Obviously, they've made them better.
Yeah.
And
They got a small fan base that's probably diehard fans
well,
for
and
those,
I guess
you know?
too is it's just like, look, it's like, for better or worse, you have Nintendo characters that transcend like just time. Like, you'll always have the Yoshis and Mario's. I think at this point they'll always be hyping those characters, but like, it just doesn't make me mad anymore, because before it was just like, oh, same content. But like, I guess just a light went on in my head. It's like, they are improving this stuff. It's like, they are making it better, more interesting. Like, I mean, you look at Smash Brothers now. I haven't played it, but it's just like the fact that they keep adding like DLC. They just keep adding stuff. Like,
It's pretty cool with where Super Smash came to now, like where some guys just like, I'm gonna make a mod and take all the characters and just build it, and then they started playing it at Nintendo, and people were like, this is fucking great, like, we should try to pitch this, and they went to the front of the board and pitched it, and they're like, nah, we don't see this working, and then they got even more, I think they did a tournament with like a bunch of Nintendo people, and then they got a lot like casual people like, what kind of game is this? And they pitched it again, and then they brought it out, and then it just blew up on 64, so I'm kind of right there with you though. 64, and then GameCube had a lot of good content, a lot of good games, and then when the Wii U came out, I was kind of pissed off. I didn't want to buy Wii U, and I was pretty adamant always having every type of Nintendo console in every game.
I had a GameCube when I was younger, growing up, and so I played like Wind Waker, Smash Melee, Luigi's Mansion, like all that shit back in the day. But then like Wii came out, and what I didn't like about the Wii and why I think that was like when I got into PC too, I just didn't care about consoles, was they were like forcing the motion gimmick on you
yes.
on Wii.
Not okay. Just to specify, just the first
Just
Wii,
Wii,
not the Wii
not
U,
Wii U,
with
correct.
just the nunchuck.
Yeah, and then I was, like seeing, like I've still to this day, I've never played Skyward Sword because you need motion controls on a Wii to play it, and that always rubbed me the wrong way. I'm just like, it's not. I'm glad they went back to like the classic controller route, and not
Yep.
like they still have some motion with some things, but they don't like push it on you so hard anymore,
That was some of the innovation stuff I think they tried and it failed, and they kept on trying to push some of that shit, and they finally realized that people are like, we don't like this. We just like the traditional controller.
But yeah, and to that point, just to like, that just sparked it, innovation, and that's another thing I've always downplayed about this company, because from like a selfish point of view, it was always like, okay, like take the amiibos or the cardboard shit they're doing. Both of those things, I think they're stupider than shit.
That
I
were
think they're money
garbage.
grabs. But if you look at it from a fan perspective, it's just like, okay, an amiibo, it's like you're adding in-game content, and then you also get a real-life figure if you're one of those people who I am now, who like little collectible kind of things. So it's just like, yeah, like if you just turn off like the fucking negative filter and you look at it, it's just like they're innovating, they're trying stuff. The fact that they've incorporated like a thing like an amiibo where you can set it down. I remember on the Wii U, I don't know how it currently works anymore, but just set it down, and if you could utilize it in a game you're playing, boom, you get the extras right there. The cardboard stuff, I just think that was just I mean, really? Like,
I
you're
can
just
never get
selling
into it.
cardboard. But once again, they're trying things. And I just, as long as they learn from their mistakes and truly see it's like, if something's not selling, try something else. Like, but the fact that they're trying stuff is like, I'll give all credit to them because I used to knock them for trying shit I didn't like. Like, I didn't like the nunchuck, didn't like the motion stuff. But they're coming along, and it's just like, I feel like, you know, like, it was a true evolution. It's like, you would not have the Switch if you never had the Wii. I really believe that. It's
probably
out
true.
of the Wii came the Wii U. You look at the Wii U controller, obviously you see where the Switch came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, if you look at the Wii, I think it was the Wii or the Wii U with the little one nunchuck, right? Whatever it was.
The Wii. Yeah.
The Wii. All that is the N64 controller middle part. And someone pointed that out to me like last week, and I was like, "You're got to be kidding me!" And then they put them side by side. That's literally all it was. They took the 64 controller, took the middle part out, and used that for the Wii. So weird. So weird to think about. But yeah, I never hated them trying new things. That's what turned me off about a lot of this stuff. I wasn't.
They should make their next console completely out of cardboard.
You have to put it together yourself.
Kind of like IKEA.
Nintendo U, put it together.
Oh man, that'd be fucking hilarious.
So what were some other? Dude, I'm actually excited for that new, that Marvel game coming out for Switch.
Oh yeah, that looks
Ultimate
good.
Alliance?
Yeah.
Dude, the new one looks insane.
Kind of gives into that
Huge roster.
Is that kind of like a Tekken type game where it's
No, it's like a top-down like beat 'em up. I'm trying to remember. There's other games like it. Like, I guess you haven't played one of the previous Ultimate Alliance
I
games?
haven't. No, I haven't had a chance to play any of those.
It's like a top-down type view, like Diablo, but it's like a fighting game. It's like a top-down fighting game, but I think it's multiplayer to where like you can play a hero and then like you can play with other friends who are different.
Oh, really?
heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Is there like an online game play to like play with other friends, or is it just more like co-op? You play together.
I think it's online.
Is it?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it would be.
Yeah, I didn't really get to watch the trailer on that. See, it was so weird. Like I watched on E3. I got to watch the Zelda one. I got to watch like some of the Mario stuff, the Splatoon stuff. I missed the Monster game. So I'll have to check that out and rewatch it. But I'm down, man. I feel like Nintendo's finally doing something right, and now that they have the online stuff, I know it kind of like didn't take off right away, but it seems like it's getting better. Just even playing the Smash online, I heard at first was like terrible. Like the frame rates were really bad and people were really upset, but it seems like it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, I haven't played Smash Online in a while. Like I have Twitch Prime, which came with like 9 months free of Switch online subscription. But I just haven't really played any games online. Like the only games that I really have for Switch that I play are like Breath of the Wild, Donkey Kong.
Yeah, how's that Donkey Kong game?
It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's good. Like if you like the old school Donkey Kong,
Is it just like that?
I think it's this one, the Tropical Freeze. It was ported from Wii U, but it's updated for Switch graphics. So
Really?
it's like it's fun. It's a good game.
I always liked the original Donkey Kong game.
It's just like a classic platformer, just like running and jumping, but just the way they did it, like the 3D graphics and stuff in the background, and like the way the levels come to life. Like it's a good game.
Because you got Diddy Kong and what's the other one?
Dixie.
Dixie. So you can use any of those characters.
And Cranky,
Oh, yeah, Cranky too.
Cranky Kong, yeah.
That's hilarious. It's so funny because I still have them on Super Nintendo, and I've played them once in a while. Dude, those games are still great. It's probably still one of my favorite consoles, the Super Nintendo, for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because I grew up. I played Nintendo, played Game Boy, and then when I got a Super Nintendo, they just had so many great games and so many good game titles that came out. I was just so hooked. It's probably why I got my Super Nintendo rebuilt so I could play it, because I still play my Switch all the time, but for some reason I still go back to playing Super Nintendo games all the time. Like I guess I have a lot of nostalgia with that one, and I still have 64, but I never busted out and played it at all. It's more just Super Nintendo or Switch I've been playing a lot lately.
You know what they're selling for at the Slackers? That was it. Not
Slackers?
Babbage's.
Oh, okay.
$100. Nintendo 64s.
Did you?
I feel like they overpriced stuff though.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they did a good job too. Nintendo being the first one, or if they weren't the first one, I think they were, bringing back the little mini Super Nintendos with all 300 games on it or whatever for $20 or $30 during Christmas, and they sold out, and people were going crazy about them.
Why didn't you do this like 15 years ago? Like emulators were no secret. It's like I was playing emulators like
In
back in
school.
high school.
I know.
Right.
I was like, I don't know why they never tried to capitalize off that.
Because I would have, if they would have released like a decent product like this, like, 15 years ago, like I would have, like but the only thing I don't like about these mini consoles is it's like, give the opportunity to expand. Don't just lock in 60 games or something. It's like, have an ability to where it's like you can load up more. Because we know the tech involved here, they can do it.
Yeah.
It's just a choice of like money.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's like a little cartridge they could stick in there, like an SD card or something. They could have, like, it'd be removable to put an extra 60 games in or something like that would be great.
But I'll tell you this right now, since just pop back in, if we were talking about Super Nintendo, is that's where my true love of like RPG and fantasy came from, even before like, because dude, Lord of the Rings came way after Legend of Zelda, or what was the Chrono Trigger?
Chrono Trigger.
Or like just Battle Tactics Ogre, Battle Ogre, Tactics Ogre, whatever the one was for Super Nintendo. Just I know some of those are more strategy, but point being is just like that the whole literally you're in a medieval world and you're just fighting whatever monsters, skeletons, you name it. I mean that was the true fantasy start. And
That literally, I think Final Fantasy III on Super Nintendo is probably my favorite RPG of all time. And I think I got so hooked on it after that is really what got me into gaming. Like I went over to my buddy's house that lived across the street from me. He first got a Super Nintendo. That was the first game he got. I was like, what is this game? We started playing it. And it was so difficult when I was young. And when I play it now, like I'm replaying it right now, I'm almost done with it. It's really not that difficult, but the enjoyment I get out of it, just like the leveling up and getting like the special magic powers, that you use against people for fighting. Like it was just a grindy type of game when you're a kid. It was fun to waste hours of time playing this game and then seeing the end result, leveling up and then being able to beat like the big boss at the end or whatever you're trying to accomplish. But it was a difficult game when I was a kid. And I think that really got me into playing the RPG type games like with Zelda and Final Fantasy Chrono Trigger.
Come on, like it's like after. Okay, like Zelda 64, like when you're an adult, you're geared out, you went through everything. It's just like you feel like such a hard ass when you have like, Mirror Shield, Master Sword, like just all the gear and just like, but any game like that where it's like you start level 1, but you end up level 50 and now you're like some either just badass warrior or powerful wizard where it's like, dude, I'm a sucker. It's just like, you put the work in, you went through the adventure. And it's like, here you are at the end, you're just a badass to fight some big-ass boss. Like, God, I'll just never
I feel like both those games.
like RPGs.
I feel like both those games. There's a big fan base. I think Final Fantasy III is considered the best Final Fantasy of all time from all the Final Fantasy big nut people that are really into it. And
Well, I would argue that it's like there's people. You got two camps. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys.
7.
But
7.
Well, I was gonna say Final Fantasy heads and people that are not like I've never
played any Final
went in,
Fantasies.
but
No.
I remember even being a kid though, and one of my neighbors had a PlayStation, and they were playing a Final Fantasy, and it was just like it just never
Resonated with you?
sank into
Yeah.
me, and that's all. I'm not knocking it, and I would still play it to this
I would recommend
because
for-
of the way everybody hypes it up.
I would
but
recommend starting.
I've never-
If you ever get a chance in an emulator, play 3. But 7 was really good too. It's called Tactics. It was on PS, and dude, that was a great game too. I love that game. But for some reason, I think it's really considered 6. But in America, it's considered 3. In Japan, it's considered 6. It's considered like one of the best ones. So. It's cool, man. Their games are so polished and the content is so great in the game and the music in the game is amazing. Like they really put a lot of time into the music. That's where like people are so obsessed with 3 because the dude that created the music, he spent like a year before even developing the game and putting it out. He spent a lot of time in the music, which I thought was pretty cool. That was before people actually cared about music and games at all.
Well, and it's just so funny because it was that 8-bit. Was it 8-bit? So
I
they
think
were still like using like MIDI file, right?
Mhm.
But it's like if you've ever heard when they have like the symphonic music of Legend of Zelda or anything like that, like when they actually flesh that stuff out, because it's like, because your point is like, dude, spend a year making music, making what, like MIDI's on a keyboard, but truly, it's like if you look at what was really created music wise, like I'm sure it's just spectacular.
Yeah, they were definitely limited by the technology. I mean, just like even the Super Mario song, like how iconic is that? And that was the same thing. It was created on like a little MIDI, like 16-bit or whatever. It's crazy how some of those songs like stick with you.
It's crazy. Like you can just go on YouTube and there's millions of people who have pianos that literally play all that content. And they have millions of views because people love listening to that music. Like there's people like, I have this on repeat and I listen to it all the time. It's like, well, I could probably do that, but I could listen to it and I get a little bit of nostalgia with it, but it's cool.
I like the guys on YouTube that will take like modern songs and turn them into MIDI songs.
Oh, cool. I didn't know.
And it sounds like a
bad.
badass like Nintendo song or something. Like it sounds awesome.
They do that with like electronic keyboards and stuff, or they do
I
it?
don't know how they do it, but like you can look up like any like new song and somebody's probably MIDI'd it out, like
That's cool.
made it sound cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play on like regular Nintendo or Game Boy or like that virtual Game Boy or whatever it was called, virtual something? I can't remember. I remember I had the one.
No, that thing was stupid. I remember a display at KB Toys when I was like the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, the virtual. I actually had one for about 2 weeks. This is a funny story. I had it for 2 weeks. I played that Mario Tennis on it, and it was red and black when it was kind of like the first thing for like virtual reality. They're trying to like
I
push out or
remember
whatever.
Yeah.
And my mom had to sell it because she needed money, or had to give it back because my sister needed money for cheerleading school or some cheerleading camp or whatever the hell it was. And I was like, okay, cool.
That money was better well spent on
It-
cheerleading camp.
It was because what I found out was people were actually like having like vision and like brain problems from like looking
Dude,
at it.
if you, I don't know about. I remember looking at the display model. It took me 2 minutes to get a headache. It was just like, yeah, and I just, being a kid where there's things that pop out, you're like, oh, I want this, I really want this. That was one of those fucking things I just didn't give a shit about. It's just
Yeah,
like, no,
same.
I don't. I glossed right over that.
Even as a kid, I could tell it was a gimmick more than anything, you know?
Yeah.
'Cause,
It was cool because they had like the little controller and it looked cool. And I remember playing it. I was like, oh, this looks cool. My mom and dad bought me. I
did?
didn't even ask for it. They bought me for Christmas or like my birthday. And then I was like, I played one game on it and I was like, this game is really not that much fun. Like even my friends came over and played. They're like, this is kind of stupid.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and you made that after the Game Boy.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well, whatever. Then came Super Nintendo. And
That was
64.
their virtual reality at the time. That was
Yeah.
like their big.
Yeah.
once again, they're trying, because I just get this feeling with Nintendo, and it just might be because I got a soft spot for them, but it's just like in this day and age where everything revolves around money and putting out product to make money, and it's just like it does seem like with certain movies and video games, it's truly released to see how much money we can make. I still get this feeling that Nintendo cares enough about their customers that they are still delivering a quality product because they know that they can make money through delivering a quality product. Like they're not mutually exclusive, but I feel like, companies nowadays like EA and Activision, it's like, no, let's hook them in with the DLC, let's hook them in with this, let's hook them with this, and it's like,
Loot boxes
what do we,
and-
yeah, like, I'm just so tired of that shit. And it's just like, it's just refreshing seeing a company that it's like I said, it's like I wanted to nag on them and just be like, oh, amiibos are a money scam. And while they can be, it's like, look at Skylanders. That's the shit like that. That's the real money scam.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It
it
really
truly is just some fan service right there. It's just they know people like little Nintendo shit.
I will
So-
say too, what they did with the Switch is they kept physical copies is something because that's going to be pretty much the end of stuff. Like you can go on Nintendo's new online site and you can buy cloud-based games and you can store it in the cloud right under your account. But I think a lot of people still are like having the physical copies and the disc and everything like that. I'm one of those people. I don't mind buying the copy and actually having the physical copy of it.
I don't have one physical copy for my Switch.
You know?
I don't.
But the thing is like the games are the size of Game Boy games, even smaller. So
Yeah.
it's just like I wouldn't mind fleshing out a little bit of a physical collection for it. But then yeah, like therein lies that they're going to be pumping the virtual stuff always cheaper. Like
Price stays the same.
Quicker,
though.
more convenient.
Yeah.
and you know how Nintendo is. It takes forever to see price drop on product. Like
Dude, there's still like the titles that came out when Switch came out. The Nintendo titles are still like full price.
yes.
They hardly ever go on sale.
Like my guess right now, Christmas, they're you might get a bundle deal, but like otherwise maybe $25 off a Switch. Like I'm not expecting any
Well, the thing that sucks is
crazy
that we don't
price
have,
drop.
you know, like GameStop and like Babbage's and you're saying Slackers and games like that. You might be able to find a used copy and still they're still like $30, which is fine. $30 for games is
No,
really
yeah,
that
even
bad.
in the secondary market, like they're holding value pretty hard unless it was like a less popular game, like the two I picked up. I got 2 games for each.
Is it
like
just
around
because they're
$20.
Nintendo, or is it because there's so many exclusive titles and people know that people want to play them, or is it just for simple fact they just never price drop anything? Because I don't know. I mean, it seems like with Switch, it seems like it's been that way, but older generations consoles seems like they didn't always stay that way.
They discount a lot of their non-exclusive titles, like all the time. They always have like if you go to the Nintendo shop on Switch, it's like great deals or whatever. But anytime you look at like their best sellers or like any Nintendo exclusive, like that Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle or whatever, like that's still $60. That came out when the Switch came out, I believe, and I haven't played it, but from what I've seen, it looks like an XCOM type game. But I'm just like, why don't I would buy I'd probably buy my Mario Kart 8 or Super Mario Odyssey like if they ever went on sale, but I'm not paying $60.
Not for a game you're gonna play for a week and just not play it that
Yeah,
much.
I hate spending $60 on a game these days unless I know that I'm going to be glued to it.
Well, it's
And-
funny. I read something too.
Right.
That the majority of the people that play Nintendo games are like between like 18 and like 40. Like the majority of their people, and they're male, right?
Well, it's all the people who were young when they first came out.
Yeah,
It's the
and-
people our age or like a little bit older who were playing Super Nintendo when they were kids.
Well,
Like,
yeah, they gotta realize too, like with online gameplay, you could do Mario Kart play against other people. Not a lot of people have 5 people at their house in the age.
they
of,
do that these days.
what?
Mario Kart Online.
Oh no, I'm saying that they gotta realize that these people will buy these games, but they don't have people at their house like asking like, hey, let's go over to Randy's house and play Mario Kart and have like 6 friends over. Like that just doesn't really happen as much as the older you get.
GoldenEye.
Or yeah, GoldenEye or whatever.
Dude, I remember split screen Mario Kart 64. That was the shit.
I think we'll
Top and
see.
bottom.
I think we'll see a resurgence in split screen. I mean, I hope we'll see a resurgence in split screen. That was just so much fun, and I just, I think everything in the world kind of ebbs and flows, and you get trends, and it's
Comes
just
back.
like, yeah, and it's just like that's just not what's trending right now. Obviously, it's online FPSs, it's your Anthems, it's your PUBGs, it's your Fortnite.
Split screen nowadays is like having 4 people with their own Switch, like putting them next together so they can play Mario Party.
Yeah,
But I'm telling you, I think
that would
though,
actually be pretty cool.
at least once again, I hope that when it it's ebbing, and when it flows back, it'll be due to, hey guys, we've been doing the battle arenas for years now. I'm just getting a little burnt. It's just like, why don't you guys throw in some single player campaign content, which I know they do now, but that used to be the emphasis, and the extra was just the online. Like the first Call of Duty. It's like, that was so base for, around, well, they just had a good campaign, and then they also had a good multiplayer. It's just like, can we get back to that? Mm-hmm. And it's like, stop trying to charge money for a multiplayer, which used to be one part of a whole game.
Yeah.
Like they segmented it out now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's just stupid.
Well, I remember, I think it was Battlefield 4, like a few years ago when they came out. I think it was that game. I can't remember which game it was, but they didn't have a campaign at all. It was just all multiplayer, and that was like a huge deal.
Dude, it was one of the Star Wars Battlefronts too.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
the first
came out.
Battlefront.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
like, you're not gonna have a campaign,
Dude,
Like
that's why I was excited for Battlefront was the campaign, because I remember
Yes.
playing that at your place back in the day. I'm just like, that campaign was amazing.
Yeah, campaign mode, I used to always throw under the bus when you buy games. I was like, I ain't playing this. That's more about multiplayer. But now it's like, it seems like games are coming out with better content for campaign mode, which I need to try to start playing games more like doing that.
I'm
if
just
I'm
saying,
buy
man.
FPS games.
It's it used to, I look at it like you used to get a complete package. It's like you could do your thing by yourself, and then when your friends get on, jump on multiplayer or just play multiplayer. And now you're boxed into, because somebody like me, I'll take a one-player game any day of the week probably over multiplayer. I just like single-player games more. And it's just like, I just hate that it's just like I feel kind of boxed out of FPS nowadays because nobody is really giving a shit about campaigns. And it's like, I'm not going to buy a $60 game just to try to kill people online. That's just not fun for me anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it's bigger, like I was saying, like when you're younger and you have more free time and you're sitting there playing with your friends, it's not as much fun just playing with randos online all the time. And, it's frustrating and stuff. I can attest to that because that's literally all I play is FPS on PC. But it does get old, and I do miss playing with friends all the time. So there's something to it. It's like it's worth paying the money to play with people you know and get enjoyment out of it. But if you're not, it's just like any other game. It's like, why am I not just playing this by myself? If I'm gonna play with random people.
But this is why, for me, like, the Switch made just a lot of sense. Man, this is like right up my alley, and this too. And I thought about this too. Is like I haven't really gave a shit about platformers in like God knows how long. But then I was just thinking about it, like when I was looking into buying the Switch, and I saw how many like platformer style games they had, and I was just like, you know what? I kind of miss that shit. I had so much fun as a kid playing that kind of stuff, like Banjo.
I was just telling him the new Donkey Kong, the Tropical Freeze.
I want to play it.
It's pretty good.
Is it good? I want to play that. That was just on sale for $40.
Man, I remember when,
good.
like I was telling him, the Super Nintendo one was phenomenal. I still got it, but 64 Donkey Kong, dude, that game took me forever to beat, and that was so much fun playing a single player. I would go over and watch other people play it, but then go home and play it, and dude, that was kind of like a Zelda type game. But for Donkey Kong, I wish they'd bring something back like that. That would be fucking cool to play.
But I mean, seriously, who does platformers like Nintendo? Like they made platformers.
Well, that's pretty much their
literally.
niche with a lot of games.
So,
Which is probably why you like them so much, because you're into single player games.
right. But once again, I guess it was just lost on me for years because I was just like, I don't play that shit. That's kiddie shit. But now here I am back full circle, and it's like, man, I had fun playing that as a kid. I want to play that. I want to play that shit more. I haven't played that kind of shit in forever.
They have so many like iconic characters and people that enjoy that kind of stuff, man. Like they got I mean, just even like with Pikachu, it was would it come out like on Game Boy, and now it's the most iconic Pokemon of all time. That's what people know it for.
Yeah, I wanted just like a chill whatever type game that I could play on the Switch. So I bought Tropical Freeze because I had never played any of the new Donkey Kongs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fucking awesome. I was telling him like the way they do like the 3D levels that like shit pops out at you in the background, and like it's a Nintendo game. It's like fucking polished, But it's like it's cool just like playing Breath of the Wild or whatever. And then just going to Donkey Kong and just running and jumping, like not having to think much about it, like just playing a platformer just cause,
Dude, yeah.
It is cool too because you get to play at your own pace. Like you don't feel rushed, and I enjoy playing games at my own time, especially now that we don't have as much free time being older. It's nice playing games and just going to set it up where it's safe, play it, whatever. You don't get that with a lot of games anymore.
Right, where I can bang out a level. My buddy's letting me borrow Super Mario Odyssey right now.
Oh, nice.
It's just like anything checkpointy and stuff where it's just like, I can make it to a point and then set it down, and then I can go do something and pick it back up. It's like compared to I have to be in this death match for as long as I survive, or in those deals where it's like, hey, pause the game, you need to come do this. It's like, well, I can't right now. I can't pause.
Can't right now.
And it's
My
like,
life depends on it.
Whereas it's like this shit, it's like whatever. It's like, all right, pause. It's like not a big deal.
Yeah.
I saw Nintendo store too. I know because games don't drop, but they're trying to sell like if you buy a game, you get like a bunch of like old like regular Nintendo games you can play on the Switch. I don't know if they're free or if they just bundled in.
It's bundled into the online subscription.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was messing around with that a little bit the other day. It's the true. What sucks is it's the true NES games, not the SNES.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
those games are all fun. I just like the Super Nintendo ones.
Yeah.
Any bullshitter games, Super Nintendo.
And you said right,
is
but if you
better.
got Twitch, I'm sorry, Twitch. If you got Prime, you $20 for
no,
a year.
Okay, so no, it was ridiculous. So apparently you're supposed to get it free through Prime. But you had to also link your Twitch account to your Prime, and then you had to link that to Nintendo. I do all this, and in the meantime, I forget my password like 2 times, so I had to reset it. The whole fucking thing took like 2 hours.
Did you end up getting it to work or no?
So I ended up getting to work, and it linked, and then it still wouldn't count as the one true. It didn't count as like a true subscription because that group of games you're talking about that comes with it wasn't giving it to me. I still had to pay $20 after linking everything.
Wow.
But I look at it like, I don't give a shit. It's $20 a year for
That's
online.
really good.
That's where it's just like literally, guys. It's like we could literally pay $20 a year if we all get Mario Maker or something or Smash. It's like literally we can just
I really want to
we
play.
can just play at our
really
houses together.
I really want to play that Mario Maker game.
So you said you already pre-ordered it?
I already pre-ordered
I think I'm gonna
it.
get it because I felt like I missed the boat on the first one.
I did too.
Because I didn't have
Yeah.
I didn't have a Wii U until Breath of the Wild came out. So like I was like, damn, that would have been a cool game. But like, it seems like they're adding a lot to this one, and like since it's just coming out and it's fresh and it's new, like it'll be cool just being able to make a level and have you guys play it.
I think it's cool that you
Yeah.
can have like you host your own private server type thing, and you can invite all your friends you want, or if you don't want to, you can make it public and anybody can play it, right? And give you reviews on it, what they like, what they
Well,
didn't like.
what's cool about Mario Maker, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can't publish a level until you beat it personally.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So like it doesn't matter, like if you make it as hard as nails, if you can't beat it, you can't publish it for other people to play.
That's
so it's
cool.
like it has to be like within reason, but people still do make crazy levels that are like nearly unbeatable unless you're like a god.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't make anything like that. Like I'd probably just make something like
That'd be a
funny.
cool way to like for Nintendo to host something like a Mario Maker tournament where they have like the best players in the world with the best levels they've created, and whoever wins, that would be fucking
So
cool.
they have something like that
Do they?
where I don't know if it's a tournament style, but you can. And I forgot the guy's name, but on YouTube, you look up videos. There is literally one guy who is known as the maker level guy, like one or two.
Carl
guys.
Sagan.
Maybe I think it might be.
I think it's Carl Sagan. He
but
was on AGDQ and they had some like Mario Maker race where it's like this pro, I think his name's Panga. He made all these levels for these guys to play through blind, and they were like,
This is what I'm thinking of.
yeah, it was like a little Mario Maker race.
Because
and
I
it
didn't
was a
see
blind race.
that Games Done Quick, that whole thing, but I remember watching a video on this specifically.
It was cool. Like he made them really challenging because all these guys were like really good. But it was cool just like because they had 2 teams of 4. So like anytime somebody died, they'd pass the controller to somebody else on their team. But they were just like racing through these levels blind because they'd never played them before. But
That's cool. That would be fun. That would be different just than playing the regular Nintendo,
But
levels.
that's the thing, though, is before you can release it to the public, you got to be able to beat your own map, so that you can't just have something unbeatable
cheese,
out
yeah.
there.
That'd be cool. Actually sounds like a lot of fun. I actually might pre-order that as well. Get to play it. When's it supposed to come out? Like,
Well, it's the only reason I pre-order. I only pre-order because it was $8 off the day I did. I don't know if that deal's still going on, but otherwise, dude, you just pick it up Friday. It's coming out. It's coming out Friday.
yeah.
cool. I might do that. I get paid Friday, so that sounds like a good idea. Spend some money on something I probably don't need. But yeah, the Switch stuff I saw also on Reddit. Somebody, and I didn't know this, but I guess the Nintendo community actually pays attention to Reddit a lot. Someone came up with a new concept for a Switch, like a new screen, new controller base, or whatever, and they actually are considering making it all different colors, kind of like they always went back to their traditional thing with the Game Boys, making them different colors. 'Cause people are like, I want it in pink, I want it in blue, or whatever.
Well, I was looking online I bought a little carrier case for mine, and like not that I've really taken it anywhere, did anything like that, but I just wanted one in case I did want to take it somewhere, like if
Yeah.
I go on vacation or something, just throw it all in one little thing. But as I was looking for that online, like there's like decals and skins you can buy for like
I saw that.
either the Switch or the Switch base.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's different things you can do to customize it, but I was like, I don't want to get too crazy with all that. Don't really need to.
Yeah, I don't need to either.
It's cool that they have the
I want
option.
to put all my punk band flair on it.
Yeah.
I did see too. They want to redesign the dock because so many people complain about scratching their screen. On
Well, actually, my buddy Mark warned me. He's like, get a screen protector on it
Screen protector,
immediately
immediately.
because when
That's the first thing
when
I
you're
did.
pulling it in and out, like it
Two
will.
bottom?
Yeah, it will scratch.
I haven't
It's,
scratched
like, even on my
mine yet.
screen protector, when I take it out of the dock, there's 2 smudges where it would normally scratch the screen. And like if I rub it with like my shirt or like a little towel, like
Comes off.
you can buff it out, but like if you don't have a screen protector, that shit will scratch your screen.
I need to buy one. I barely take it on my dock, but still.
Well, look forward to a future, dock improvement. I'm almost positive they will be changing that. Dock.
Well, I like even without the dock being able to scratch it, like you still want a screen protector on it because it's
if you drop
that
it,
plastic is so fragile. Like it's so easily scratched. Like even just doing something simple as like setting your keys on it or something could scratch it. So, because I was reading into that before I got mine, because they were saying, get a screen protector like as soon as you get the thing.
I don't want to even think how much it would cost to replace.
did you ever get a screen protector for yours too?
Yeah, I had bought one of the travel thing like Brandon did. It came with a screen
nice.
protector.
Nice.
So
I didn't get one too because I'm going on
threw that
vacation.
sucker on first thing when I got it.
Yeah, I'm going on vacation.
Like how expensive this thing is. Like, it's like I'm not fucking around.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you got to keep in mind, it's like you're carrying around the system. You know, it's like That's what it is.
Yeah, I'll definitely get one then, because that sounds like something I need like ASAP. Because I go into the Florida in like 5 weeks, and I'm thinking about bringing my Switch with me so I can just play it down there.
Worst case scenario, you don't ever get it out, you know, but you have it. Yeah, you know, I mean, perfect example. I never would have thought. You remember that when the Switch commercials were first coming out, and that asshole was using it in the airport. I was like, whoever's really going to do that?
People-
Randy's going to do it.
Yeah, there's probably lots of people that do.
You're
that
gonna get
shit.
it out, and some stranger's gonna walk up, and it's just gonna be like a commercial. He's gonna be in a wheelchair. It's gonna be great.
It is funny though with that kind of stuff. How many people
Look at us coming
Now
together around Nintendo.
now you playing
You
on
hear
Switch?
Nintendo music starts playing in the background.
Dude, that'd be hilarious. How many people are just mobile gaming, and I see people playing games like on, you know, when I've been in the airport or just wherever, like people got their headphones and wireless headphones, and they're playing games on their phone.
It is nice that it has a headphone jack. Like I love plugging in my Audio Technicas directly into it, and it's just
Or if you just want to do the sound, it actually doesn't have bad sound that comes out of
yeah.
it.
This is definitely a Switch commercial.
Yeah,
Just
jerking
talking
him
about-
off hard. Man. No, I came in like as soon as Rainey said Nintendo, because like I said, man, I've had my ups and downs with this company. Really, I mean, it was my childhood, but then in my shithead years, it was like fuck them. But now I'm just coming back around because it's just like
I would say some of my best times with my friends were playing Nintendo. I could test it being over at your house or you guys being at my house. Dude, 64. I don't know how many games we used to play, but it was probably between Super Smash, Mario Party, when no one was around, probably Zelda and a couple other games. But literally, those 2 games, dude, got me through high school with all the
Dude,
shit that we did.
Between like GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Super Smash, as far as like multiplayer games, there was even a Bond. There was a 007 game, and it wasn't GoldenEye, but I
Perfect
forgot-
Dark.
No, it wasn't Perfect Dark. It was like it was one of the other ones. I forgot what it was called, but I played that a shit ton too. Multiplayer. It was
just-
like my brother and TJ and shit. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, 64. So many good hours on 64.
dude, actually, Conker's Bad Fur Day had a pretty fun multiplayer.
That was
did.
wasn't that the one?
Surprisingly
was that the
good.
one that was pretty vulgar too? That would he would
Yeah, Conker? Yeah.
that was good. I like that game.
Surprised that it was released by Nintendo. What was that? Yeah, it was Rare.
By Rare,
saw it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was rare. I just remember funny thing talking about too. And
Hey kids, do you like Banjo Kazooie?
just going back to like random people's houses and how many people would be still playing like Super Nintendo, not Super Nintendo, but like playing Smash, playing those games. My favorite thing was always to go to the kids' houses that would always be like, we're really good at this game. And we play them, and literally half the time, like me and Brandon or whoever playing would just destroy them. And like, you guys play this way too much.
No, but it was funny though. There was a period in high school where it did seem like, and I guess because I never hung out or with people that were ever too. I shouldn't say that they weren't into sports games, but it wasn't like everybody was getting together to play hockey or soccer.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I was never hung out with. It did seem like the circuit of people that I hung out with, it was just like, yeah, if there was something like that available, it was a Nintendo 64, it was Smash Brothers.
Dude, my
Like, there was like a circuit around. It's like, you're going to go over to somebody's house, you're going to play Smash.
Well, and like everybody at that time was into it. So like people would come over to your place that I'd never played with before.
And you get to play him.
Yeah, and like everybody had their own character and everything, and
Well,
No.
who was that one time? I think there was this one time where it was just like somebody was purported to be like one of Jake's friends was like purported to be like, oh, I'm misremembering. That was hockey. Alex and Jake's buddy Pat were both very good at NHL, and I think we sat them down to play once. I forgot who won. Sorry, I'm going off the rails.
no, you're good. There's this time too. I got 2 funny stories that.
Well, I got 3 funny stories.
Yeah, well, stop being the one upper. They had it was like James Newkirk and like a bunch of those kids, right? Like, yeah, we're so good at Super Smash, and I brought over Aaron, or Aaron brought me over, and Aaron wasn't the best at Super Smash, but I was really good. It was pretty much always between me and Brandon playing. I used Kirby, and he used what's the Metroid character, Samus. And dude, we rolled them, like every single person. They're like, we've been playing this game for years. Like no one can beat us. You know, they played like Yoshi and a bunch of other characters. And then like, still to my time, my favorite thing was when we'd be sitting in the house and Aaron would come over because he would get pissed off because he could never beat me and Brandon. And I watched Brandon play him, and it wouldn't matter what character he had, he would just destroy him. And Aaron would break my fucking controller just trying to, like, he would get so upset that he couldn't beat him. He'd be like pressing the button, doing all this stuff, getting like all angry.
Dude, I remember
It's like the
Aaron's
second or third controller
smashing
broke.
controllers, yeah.
Yeah, just breaking that shit. Dude, there's times too where we would get stoned out of our minds and we would put on like 4 Donkey Kongs on the highest level and we would let them play and with like 900 lives and we'd pass out after just watching them all night. We'd wake up and they'd still be going in the morning. Those were some funny ass times watching them just to see how like they would duel and do stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
So many good memories of Super Smash, man.
No, I loved running bots on Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark was a great game.
That game was awesome.
That was a really cool game.
I liked that they had the multiplayer similar to GoldenEye, but I also liked that they had this. I forgot what it was called. It was like these puzzle missions that got like progressively harder. I forgot what they were called. But they had objectives. It's like kill 4 expert PC player or NPCs or computer players.
Oh yeah, no, the achievement system.
Yeah, it was like
yeah.
it was some sort of thing. It was like a progression. Like you work your way through, and it kept getting harder and harder and harder. But man, that game was so good.
They gave
the
you
laptop
so much
gun.
to do. Talk about getting your money's worth. Like they gave you so much to do in Perfect Dark.
The single player was great.
And then do you even remember that load screen where it's just like you could be messing around, or you can just back out and just run around the main headquarters.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can
Yeah.
go down and you can go down to the shooting range. You can just mess around like
That was a really
the
good game.
headquarters, like just the little things like that.
Yeah.
That's like what I still remember that. Like
That was,
That was a good game.
that was a really fun game. There was something else. There's another game we used to play that I'm trying to think what it was.
Jet Force Gemini was awesome.
Didn't they have Star Fox 2 on 64? We used to play Star Fox. I don't remember
that
playing
was
that
one
one.
of the release titles for 64.
That was a cool
I
game.
think. I'm
That was
pretty
really
sure.
good.
Yeah.
I think they're coming out with.
They came with the Rumble.
Did they say
pack.
they're coming out with that for the Switch, or they didn't? Or
If they don't remake a Star Fox game, I would be very surprised.
I
It
kept
seems
hearing
like-
people like really ranting
I
about
don't-
one of Star
that
Fox.
wasn't in the E3 stuff. But
I remember they did a third-person one, like an action-adventure one that was kind of shitty, and but I think they did do a remake. Maybe it was for the Wii U, but I haven't heard anything about Star Fox for the Switch. But that'd be cool if they did make a new one.
That would be cool. I noticed a lot too on Nintendo. They do a lot of speed runs with a lot of different games. Like I know Super Mario 64 is like a huge game they use, and people to this day are still trying to beat like world records. I think someone just beat one not too long ago, doing all those glitches and all that stuff, beating the game in a certain amount of time. And
dude, I think that. Sorry to cut you off. That was like the first 3D like world with that joystick. Like
The Mario 64.
yeah,
I think it was.
I
yeah.
remember when we got it for Christmas, and it was just crazy, like running around this world that looked just gorgeous and bright and vibrant, and you just jump in that first picture, and it's like I can't tell you how many times I played that first map in Mario with the bombs and
Yep.
stuff. Like
that was a hard game. That was a really, really hard game for.
getting that flying hand.
How's
I mean-
Odyssey? Like, does it?
So I'm only like an hour in, but so far like it feels like, and I guess because I'm behind on like Mario games, but it feels like a spiritual successor to like 64. Like it feels good. Like I haven't gotten far at all yet, but it's been a load of fun so far.
That's one of those games where I'm like, man, if this wasn't $60, I would buy it.
Right.
it's-
Once again, my buddies let me borrow it.
It's just a game that's going to take like hours and hours to beat. It's not something that's super easy. It's like it's pretty hard to beat.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it's a Mario game, so there's different worlds and yada yada, and like just a whole. I'm sure there's a whole lot of content. I'd be interested to see like how many hours they say it takes to beat.
Man, I wish I had the time to play that. I would be
It's
down
like,
to play the
it's one of
game.
those games though where it's like you could just pick it up and put it down at any time.
Yeah.
So, but that's another one though that maybe pick it up in 10 years when it's going for $40.
I just saw too. Talking about the speed run, some kid that's like 14 or 15 was playing GameCube, and they were talking about the achievement stuff in the GameCube Super Smash. There's like a mode where you can get all like the bullseyes or whatever, and using Link as one of the characters. He did like some crazy throw, and he hit all the bullseyes and beat it like in 1 or 2 seconds, and like beat the world record. And he was going insane. He was on Twitch. He was streaming it or whatever. doing it under that speedrun channel. And it was pretty cool, man. I've never seen. I remember playing it just for fun, but I didn't know people were still, kids like millennial kids playing this game this many years here trying to beat stuff. I didn't know people actually sit around and do that kind of stuff. But I guess that there's a big.
Dude, people do that shit with like old Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega games. Like
All the time.
speedrunning community is weird, man.
There's a weird following with it, yeah, for sure.
I just to do the same thing over and over. Some of those runs are like hours long. Like there's old school RPGs for like PlayStation that are like the speed runs are like 16 hours long. Could you imagine resetting it like 15 hours in? Like
killing yourself.
God.
I know Portal's a big one too. If some guy just broke the world thing in Portal or whatever. I don't know. I get lost in these YouTube videos, and some guy was just showing like how to beat it or whatever doing. And some guy was actually there was one on Goldeneye. He showed how to beat Goldeneye, like the train map. You remember the train, how hard that map was or whatever. And he beat it on the hardest one. He beat it in a certain amount of time. And at the ending, he figured out how to skip the ending part without actually having to watch that trailer scene. And what you had to do is you had to take apart the controller. You had to have a second controller plugged in, and it was taken apart, and you had to hold the button a certain way, and it would like glitch out, and like you'd beat the level, and it would like shave off like 8 seconds, and people were like, "What's going on?" Well, somebody finally figured it out and spread out through the community because he wasn't showing everybody; he was just like showing it on Twitch or whatever doing. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I'll never not forget how much of a pain in the ass it was using your watch laser to hit the
metal,
all those metal parts holding the thing to drop out of the train to hit that level. What a pain in the ass.
Dude, watching him do it, it looked like it was like butter. Just watching him knock off all that stuff. It was cool. It was cool seeing a game like that. I didn't know people still speedrun, but I like Bram was saying, there's no way I could ever spend that much time speedrunning games like that. I mean, when I watched games done quick, they did Final Fantasy earlier, and the game usually takes people 20 to 30 hours. They beat it in 4 hours. It was the last game they did.
It takes a special kind of person to be a speedrunner, I think.
It does.
Like, I just...
It's kind of like, to me, like a coder.
I get the appeal of like wanting to know the ins and outs of a game to the point where you're that good at it, but just like, to me, I'm the type of person where I don't care how much I love a game or a movie or a show, I can't keep watching or playing the same thing for hours on end without getting bored. Like,
I'm the same way.
I don't know how people do that.
There's just a billion other things out there, and it's like every day you exist, there's more television shows coming out than you'll ever be able to keep
To
up
me,
with already. It's
yeah,
like,
I get more enjoyment out of playing a game that I beat and then coming back to it like years later and playing it again. And like same thing with like movies. Like you watch it once and you watch it 6 months later, it's cool. And then I can't play it again. Same thing with any of these old games I'm playing. Like I come back to them because hey, I want to play it again. I haven't played it in 5 years. Cool. And then after I beat it again, I probably won't play it for a long time or something like that. I could never find enjoyment playing the same game over and over and beating it. That would be kind of boring.
Speedrunning is cool. I kind of despise the community a little bit, like just the people that are a part of it and that watch it, like the elitist mentality. You know?
They seem super cringy.
Yeah, that too. Well, and one of the things I don't like about speedrunning is how they incorporate glitches. Like, to me, the true test of skill should be speedrunning a game based off your skill in the game, not like how good can I glitch through this wall to skip an hour. You know, like you shouldn't have to learn stuff that's not part of the game to compete in a speed run for that game, you know, like pressing a certain button combination to do whatever.
I want to know how these people exploit it and figure it out.
It should be based off skill, not like how well can you break this game. Like,
so I think to that point, like awesome games done quick, they need to reformat. Because I really like your idea. How about something like this? It's like, go ahead and like have an exposition, like, you know, before the run of that game that shows glitches off and whatever. But it's like, yeah, if we're talking true speed runs, it's like, get rid of glitches altogether. It's like, it should be truly playing that game through. It's like, because it's like, who really gives a dick about, oh, you beat Mario 64 in 10 minutes because you glitched through a wall? Like, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, it's cool, but I want to know who spends hours finding these exploits and glitches, and then like Bram was saying, it's like it'd be way more successful to watch someone actually beat the level the truly a fast way without glitching through it. Like, that's more to me accomplishment. Like,
well, it's just showing real skill, not, hey, I memorized the way to glitch through this wall.
Yeah.
I spent 16 hours over the weekend trying to figure out how to
Or it's
glitch
like,
this
or the
wall.
glitches where it's like if you don't glitch it perfectly, then your run's off by 2 seconds, so it's done.
Yeah.
And it's just like, get the fuck out of here with
Like
that.
they were showing like on Goldeneye, like if you don't shoot this wall a certain way, like there's like 900 different ways this guy will like walk around and do something. You got to shoot it perfectly because if he doesn't, then the speed run's pretty much over with. And the guy's like, I spent, no joke, a month trying to get this run perfect, and it's like, dude, that's insane. He spent that much time, like hours, and we're talking about a month worth of time trying to do something like that. It's like, F that.
It's funny, like my first playthrough of any like Dark Souls type game, I do die over and over and over. It's to be expected. That's part of those games. But it's like until I beat the game, I'm willing to go through that pain of dying over and over and starting over and to get to where I want to be. Anytime I try to go back to play any types of those games and I die, I can maybe get like 1 or 2 deaths in before I'm like, fuck this game, I'm not playing it anymore.
Right.
So like trying to speed run something like that and like being like several hours in and having to restart, I'd be like, fuck
Didn't you
this.
say there's some guy that played Dark Souls, did a speed run, and didn't get hit once or something like
He
some guy?
beat like 4 different Souls games without being hit once.
Dude.
Back to back to back. to back.
Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He'll
some
go
true skill.
down in history. He
Well,
really
and
will.
he's done like each one, like, you know, first he worked on the first one until he beat the whole game without being hit, then the second, then the third, then he just did them back to back. Like,
That's insane.
it's pretty crazy.
That is really insane that people.
Well, it's
do
cool,
that.
like, watching him over the years too. Like, he's not someone I always go watch, but when I do, he, like, just how he figures out how to not get hit in different encounters or like different areas throughout the game.
Talk about a lot of like memory and just like you have to memorize. Like it's kind of memorizing maps and being stuff. Like each little section of a map. How big is a Dark Souls game and how much crap goes into that? Dude, that is a lot of time.
It's like utilizing items perfectly to, you know, like if there's one item that distracts dogs, if there's a heavy dog area, like throw that item and then run by them. Just like shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's-
yeah, just to play the same game over and over. I don't know. I mean, at least he gets paid while he's doing it, you know.
Right.
Does he get paid by the Dark Souls creators? Or
Well, he
no?
gets like subscriptions and people donating.
Yeah,
and So it's like while you're streaming it, I guess it's, you know, if he was just doing it on his own in a room without streaming, then I'd be like, yeah, dude, you got issues. At least he's getting something out of it.
Do a wellness check.
Well, I will say this. Get back on the Nintendo topic. They really did impress me with E3, and I'm actually excited to get back into playing. Like, I'm actually excited not to play on the PC anymore and just get back to playing console games because there's for a while.
I'm ready to couch game.
I really am. I got to a point where I love PC games, but all the games they're making are just the same one over and over again. I feel like all they do for FPS is now BR games, and they're not coming out with really any good content. And I feel like Nintendo finally stepped up and did it. I'm not saying I wouldn't play Xbox or PS, but I guess I'm just more of a fanboy for Nintendo, and I just have more titles I'm into.
I used to be more diehard PC. Like I was console growing up, and then I got into PC gaming, and then I was just like diehard PC, and consoles didn't matter. And then like over the past like 5 years, it's like I've slowly gotten more into consoles. You know, when I got PlayStation 4, and then like had the PlayStation exclusive titles, and it's like you were saying, there's just I don't know, there's just not that many PC games these days that like really excite me. So it's like I am kind of excited to just get back to console gaming.
I feel like it's been very
as weird as
stale.
that sounds.
PC games have been getting stale. Not stale to the point where I couldn't play them, but like all the
No,
games
it's
that come
like
out, it's
this.
repetitive.
Look.
I feel like it's more of an investment too, like sitting up and playing with a mouse and keyboard when I can just fucking chill in my chair with a Switch and just be like, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I think early access ruined a lot. Being able to release games in early access at first sounded like a great idea, but I think that at the end of the day, you saw the issues it's created. Now you got games that don't even ever get finished, and it's like I can't tell you how many times it's like I've been jazzed about, you know, another adventure like survival game, but it's in early access and never gets finished. And it's just like I'm just tired of that shit, and it is rinse and repeat. It's like
It
you're
is.
getting the same. It's like it just seems like it's like you have a genre, and it's just like now it's just like carbon copies, and they might change one little thing. It's like it's just not really exciting right now. And then I mean, you look at what's popular on Twitch right now. It's just been the same shit for years. It's like
I mean, it's cool.
it's like so what now? Battle Arenas kind of took over League of Legends, but League of Legends is still up there. Counter Strike's still up there. It's like still not knocking any of it. Teach their own, but I'm just saying it's like
good games.
talk about like stale with PC games. It's like yeah, it's getting pretty stale.
Well, the funny thing is like with a lot of those games, the meta does change, but the community, there's still a big backing in the community, and yeah, those games do stay popular, and they are staying like you're saying.
There's a reason it's competitive. It's like me trying to say it's just like, oh, the NBA is still popular this year. It's like, I get it. It's like, it's Counter-Strike. It's like you run tournaments. It's like, it's what it is. Like League, Dota, it's like you're running tournaments. It is what it is. Meta changes, you know.
It is.
I get that. I do get that. But also from the outside looking in, it's just like, you know, like it's trying to say like, okay, well, we already have the basketball game. Do we need like the women's only basketball game? Do we need like now like, you know, the NBA Classics basketball game? Do we need the women's basketball game? It's like, it's done. Like,
Yeah, I mean, to me, with a lot of those games now, I've kind of, like I was saying, I've kind of just got burnt out. I mean, even with, you know, like Counter-Strike, I've played it forever. I'm just not into it anymore. I don't care. Like, I play it once in a while, but the game, it is what it is. It's always going to be competitive. It's always going to be cool. But, like, all those games that are out now, we just need something new. And that's kind of what I want to go back to, I guess, Nintendo and couch
yeah,
gaming
just
and
to
stuff.
bring this full circle, it's like for me, anyways. Like, yeah, that's my statement for wanting to get back into Nintendo and consoles
Yeah.
and that whole style of gaming. Is it's just an old style of gaming. I've gotten so used to the PC style, but I did find that I've gotten tired of that over the past couple years. So it's like this just seems refreshing. And so far, it's been great for me.
It does.
I haven't had a Switch for long, but it's just been great so far.
I think the other thing is we don't have a lot of people that are our age, like, hey, I'm going to get on the computer and play PC games at our age, like competitive, or just any of those games that for hours in. But on console, now I can play, you know, one-player games and myself, and I don't have to worry about, because everyone's busy. That's just what happens with life. We have shit going on, things going on. But I think it would be cool to get back on and play games together. Like, I do miss playing that and do that with you guys. So, like, even just if Nintendo's a way to play like once a week.
Did you ever end up getting Smash?
No, I didn't end up getting it, but I'm still down to get it to play with people. Whatever. I've been played it with some of my buddies and stuff at their houses and stuff. But like you said, just trying to put money into a game, I don't know if I was going to put money and time playing it.
Yeah.
I do want to play with people, though. That's the thing. It's like it gets boring by yourself, one of those games.
Yeah, you should get it and we should play, dude.
I'm definitely down to do that. So, I don't know. I think I pretty much we hit a lot of stuff on Nintendo. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever played, like, you know, the DSs or Game Boy Advance. I never really got into the Game Boys. I guess that was just something. I had one Game Boy. And they made a lot of Game Boys, it seems like that was.
I
something
really
they did.
liked when they switched. It was such a minor thing, but Game Boy Color, because the biggest Game Boy games for me were just the Pokemon, and then I played Link's Awakening. And I did play Mega Man. I played the shit out of one of the Mega Mans too. But
I totally forgot about.
But I
Mega
mean,
Man.
Pokemon obviously was the big one.
Yeah,
I just remember how cool it was. Like, even though it was just a little bit of color, like just how cool that was.
Yeah.
Did you guys look at the new Pokemon's coming out on Switch? Does that actually look pretty cool? Like, I skipped it because I was just like, you know, it doesn't look like my type of game. Or does
I
it
haven't
actually-
looked more into like these Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pokemons. I'm waiting for the true, like, what is it, the Sword and Shield coming out later this year.
That's what
Those will
they're-
be true RPG.
Really?
So there's a couple
Yeah.
things I heard that are a little concerning about it. One thing that I heard is they're not, I guess as each new generation comes out, they have new Pokemon, right? So there's like over 800 of them now, or however many there are. Well, apparently in the new ones, Sword and Shield, they're not going to have every Pokemon from every generation. Like, they're going to like a specific area that's only going to have specific type Pokemon. So that I think it's going to include all the new generation ones, but it's only going to include like several from each generation of the past. It's not going to have the entire catalog.
And that's cool with me.
Yeah.
I you know, throwbacks to what I know, introduce me
Well-
to some new stuff.
So have you seen much about Let's Go with Pikachu or Eevee?
No.
So in that one, the way it works is, say you go into that first forest area where there's like Caterpies and Weedles or whatever, you can actually see them running around in the grass. And so you don't just walk around in grass waiting for an encounter anymore. You see them running around.
So you can go
So
initiate.
to start the encounter, you run and touch them, and it starts the encounter, and you catch them. You don't even fight them in the wild anymore. You only fight trainers.
Oh wow, that's pretty
But
cool.
I like that system to where it's like having it just, instead of just running around in the grass waiting for an encounter.
RNG of-
Yeah,
yeah.
you can see them visibly in the world, and you can like increase rare ones. You can increase their appearance rate by catching the same type. But anyways, I think they're going back on that. I think they're going back to the random encounters running around in the grass. Like, I don't know, it was just refreshing to play it like that versus how it's always been.
But you're saying with Sword and Shield, they'll be going back.
I think they're
to
going
the
back.
random.
That's pretty cool.
And that's fine because I you know what I loved about Pokemon starting is it's just like you get your first Pokemon and then I would always just stay in that first little grass patch for a
Just
couple
level up.
hours and level up and then, you know, just cheese the first couple areas until you start running into Pokemon who are like getting harder. And this was always easier with the emulators when you could speed state
Yeah.
and then like you can just rush through leveling.
It's hard to play that without that now.
Yes, yes.
It's like, so
I might actually give that game a chance. I haven't played it since Game Boy, and I thought it was always fun back then because it was something I could bring to
yeah,
school.
don't fuck with these Let's Go games. Wait for the Sword and Shield.
And then I think there's one other game I saw at E3 that looked pretty good was the new Metroid game, which I know people have been asking for that game for a while. I remember playing it as a kid. I thought it was cool. It was always really difficult.
It was just nothing against it. I just one of those titles I never picked up or played.
they're making a new one?
Yeah.
Is it side scrolling?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's like what the fan base has really been asking for a long time. Like, hey, we want to
I
see
can
this.
see it's been a while. I still remember the hubbub around when they released the 3D Metroid. What was that? Was that GameCube?
It was
even?
GameCube.
I still remember being in Best Buy around that time and them having like big adverts for it.
Mm-hmm.
Just it was like a big deal.
Yeah,
The fucking
it'd be cool.
3D
I
Metroid.
would probably play it, but like you said, man, it's just so hard to say I'm gonna spend $60 on something, and if I don't play all of it. But that's one of those games you could play whatever. It's more of those other games that like they look cool, but is it a game I'm gonna spend $60 on?
You know, it's one of those things where it's like it's gonna be a slow burn for me. It's like it's gonna be a title accumulation over time. It's not like I'm gonna rush out and buy 5 things
Yeah.
because I just can't.
I just hope they stay with Switch for a while and they just don't try to jump to another console right away. Because I
Well,
feel like that's the
know-
biggest problem with like Xbox and PS. Like they come out with a great console and then before you know it, hey, the new console come out now. It's diskless and like it's not backwards compatible, so you don't get to play any of those games we just bought for the last generation of shit. And it's like, why even do that? Like,
I think. Well, one thing I know, PlayStation's never had backwards compatibility. So one big thing that they're doing on PlayStation 5 is having backwards compatibility for PlayStation 4
That's cool.
games. But I agree. Like I feel like I don't know. I guess it's already been 4 or 5 years, but I feel like they're rushing into the next system. Like I feel like with Nintendo's E3, I think that them showing that they're developing a new Breath of the Wild sequel for Switch, I feel like they're going to be staying on Switch for a little while.
Yep.
And I think gone are the days of them actually being concerned about the specs race in the consoles, because like all the games that they have on Switch, like they have to dumb down the graphics for Witcher 3 for it to run on Switch. They did the same thing with Doom, but it still looks good.
I'd rather doing a Doom.
They did it with Mortal Kombat 11 too,
Yeah.
that came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
Like you see a Switch version up next to like a PC or an Xbox version, it just doesn't look as good. I mean, it still looks okay, but it's like there's really no need for
The
them to
one
have
thing that
high-end specs
turned-
for all their games.
But and that's the whole point of Nintendo, at least for me, is it's just like
It's more
dude,
about
if you,
fun and
yeah, dude,
playability
it's like
and-
if you want those like top-notch graphics, then go for those like special edition Xboxes, buy a PC. Like Nintendo's never been secretive about like they're not trying to put in the latest and greatest tech. It's
Yeah.
like they just got to support a majority of what like cartoonish looking titles.
They just wanna make
and
good-
then you pepper in
Yeah.
the 3D stuff, which they can pull off good enough to where it's like you can still enjoy it. But yeah, is it going to be that clean 120 FPS yada yada yada? No.
To me, it's all about a good game with good content, good gameplay, and that's what Nintendo does. That's why people repeat, game buyers of whatever they're doing, because they always know, well, if I buy this game, probably going to get a lot of good enjoyment out of it. But like you're saying, like the one thing that turned me off when I watched the Xbox this one in E3 was literally the first commercial they pushed was like, we got a new solid state hard drive in here, and we got the latest and greatest graphics driver and all this crap in there. It's like, dude, this shit is like 10 years old, what you're putting in here. Like, nobody really cares. Like, I guess some people do because people play Call of Duty and some of these games, but it's like, at that point, I always thought, it's like, I might as well just buy a PC if that's what you're pushing for this kind of content. So that was something that, as soon as I watched Xbox, I just turned it off. I was like, I don't care about that. I wanted to see games. That's not what I wanted to see is their opening intro. Which is weird too. I don't know if I did say that to you guys. I think PS said they're backing out of E3, and I don't know why. I keep hearing things that they don't want to be at E3 anymore, and maybe it's just because
I don't think they had much to reveal this year. I think that's why they didn't do it this year, but I don't know. I think the other thing about Switch too that I like is like all the indie games that they're porting over so many games. Like Cuphead's
Dude,
on there now.
it's like
and
Steam. It's like having Steam on it. You know, like I've
So
seen
many different indie games, yeah.
indie games too that just once again add the value. So you have your indie marketplace on top of all the port stuff they're getting over on top of just like the Nintendo titles. It's just a great system. Back to your point, Randy, you're saying it's like, yeah, you hate it when they jump, systems so quick. I would hope that they realize they did that with the Wii U to the Switch. I would hope that we get at least through 2021, because it's like we got. It looks like we got 2020 on lock here as far as E3 showing, but like just give us one more year. Even if you're going to announce the new system next year, just give us one more year's shit, please.
I think what they were saying is they're just gonna keep the Switch, but upgrade it to like make it look like with a different dock, different like controllers, maybe different battery life, stuff like that. Like nothing to the extent where like, hey, we're changing the entire system and better graphics. It was just more like what people
that
were
would be
wanting.
nice, because I don't want to have to buy a new $300 system every other year.
I
Like,
definitely won't do that. I mean, to be honest, like when Switch came out, it was the first one I was like actually excited about buying a console. I was like, wow, this actually looks really cool. Every other console comes out, it seems like the same plain Jane shit to me. Like, oh, you can get on the internet on this, and you can stream Netflix and Hulu. Like,
I'm
why
just
the
gl-
hell I cared about that?
I'm just glad this E3 showed that they're not going the Wii U route. Like they're actually like putting out AAA titles and like actually developing games that people want to play for this. Because I remember Wii U, I didn't have one, but I remember keeping up with E3 and being like, oh, cool, they announced Mario Galaxy and like nothing else really. Like,
Yeah.
there weren't that many titles that made you want to go buy a Wii U. Like I didn't buy a Wii U till Breath of the Wild came out.
Yep.
And even then, I was like regretting it. Like I wish I would have just bought a Switch and then bought it on the Switch. Like, but it was a new Zelda game, and I wanted to play it right away. So.
Yep. Yeah,
I think that's what I think those companies need, that one, like either one or a handful of titles that make people want to buy your system. Like I wouldn't have bought a PS4 if it weren't for Bloodborne, but I'm glad I did because of all the other PlayStation exclusives. But same thing with Nintendo. It's like I wasn't interested in buying a Wii U till Breath of the Wild came out, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, same thing with on like the Switch, like they weren't interested in buying a Switch until new Mario Odyssey came or whatever, like people have their game that attracts them to the system.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's cool to see that there is a huge upsell in Switch consoles, and a lot of people are going back to consoles. I feel like that's going to be a trend. I think a lot of people went to PC just because it was a trend in the time. It was a Twitch and what's going on with the competitive market and people wanting to become professional gamers, yada, yada. But now that consoles, you can do the same thing with pretty much any game nowadays and generate revenue and money off it just by being good at something. I think that's cool too. So I always had kind of like a bias towards consoles after I became hardcore PC. I was like, man, these are stupid. But
what I think is stupid is if you have a PC and you buy a console to play a game that you can play on your PC. Like
I agree with that.
If you're buying a console to play console exclusives, or you, like for instance the Switch, like if you're buying a Switch to play that game that you own on PC, but to be able to play it like on the toilet or wherever the fuck you want, like that's cool too.
It would be cool, and a lot of people have been asking Nintendo, are you eventually going to open up and make your stuff cross-platform? Like, can you put it on PCs and stuff? That they just said no. They're never going to do it because, you're like you always said, the exclusive titles is what pretty much makes them sell and make so much money off all their stuff. So, which is cool, I guess. If they keep producing good games, I'll probably be always a repurchase person of buying it even when I get older. So, I'm excited for the Switch, man. I'm excited for all the new consoles, exclusive titles coming out.
I'm excited for Nintendo as a company in the next, coming decade. I mean, I think the outlook looks really good for them. I can't say the same for other companies, but I at least feel like Nintendo, I think we got a lot of good stuff in store in the upcoming decade, and as long as they keep trying, and I do feel like they're one of the few companies who they're not going to make, feedback isn't going to make or break them or probably really change a big decision they're going to make, but it does seem like they take it into consideration.
Do you know Nintendo started as a card trading company? Isn't that crazy?
Back in 1899?
I don't know.
They started
1800s.
Isn't
It's
that
been around
crazy?
since their war chest is they have enough money to weather any economical downturn. That's another reason. They're just a solid company. They're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Too bad. They have the companies in America you work for. Is it all in Japan where
Nintendo of America, they have a branch.
Oh, they do?
Nintendo of America.
I never knew that.
Yeah, they have a branch over here.
That's pretty cool. would actually probably be a good company to work for. I never
Good
even
luck
looked
getting
into
a
it.
job.
It is cool too.
It's probably really hard to get in there.
You know, one thing I think I brought up a while ago on a podcast was Nintendo 2 has that super theme park they're building in California, and people are like going nuts over it. Like people from Japan are wanting to just go to California just to go to this whole theme park. And I don't know when it's gonna be done, but it looks pretty cool. I remember they did it on a podcast showing it off.
Shit, I want to go to London and go to the Harry Potter. I mean, they got the one in Florida, which looks great. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you've got like way more of the like props and set stuff over in the England Harry Potter like studio tour.
Is that where they released that new Hagrid ride?
Yeah, that's I think.
Was,
no, wait, hold on.
I think that was Florida. The one where they were waiting like a mile.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
people were waiting all day for
heard
their
about
trip
that.
just to go on that ride.
They better give you a free blowjob when you're done with it for that long. Yeah, that'd be cool. You know, the one thing you bring about Harry Potter is funny thing about it is I was reading something because it was just like what their 22-year anniversary or 24-year anniversary, whatever it was. Those people over there are like more popular than like the Queen of England. Like they don't have to work. Like none of those people have to work at all. They can make so much money off the revenue of just people rewatching the movie titles and still purchasing merchandise. Dude, like what a great job to land into if you're gonna be an actor or actress to be known in like London or England. Hey, were you in Harry Potter? Great. You know, like you're iconic for the rest of your life. You don't have to do anything. I thought that was pretty cool. The funny thing is too, a lot of those people who can't land jobs and stuff anymore, they don't have to. They really don't have to do anything the rest of their life. They're pretty much set.
Right.
So
We'll save Harry Potter for another day.
yeah, I don't really have
Talk for hours.
Yeah, I don't really have too much stuff to talk about Nintendo. Besides, I think we pretty much hit everything we talked about. Unless you guys.
I mean, Nintendo past, present, future. It's just, I feel like, you know, what else is left to say? Final thoughts? Do you guys want to do a final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's probably always going to be my favorite console, and I'll probably always purchase their titles and games to play, even when I get older. I just hope they always stay true to their content, and they don't deviate from that and do something different, like pander to what's popular now inside, pop culture, because that will literally ruin it for me. That will turn me off, and kind of like what happened with the couple consoles they did stuff on, like with the Wii. I don't know. I just felt like that was like the one thing that was like I don't know if I'm gonna go ever back to playing Nintendo, but now I'm really excited for Nintendo, and I'll spend the money to play the games as long as they keep producing good stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Breath of the Wild sequel, Link's Awakening. Honestly, any Zelda title gets me excited. But yeah, Ultimate Alliance looks good. I'll probably end up checking out the Animal Crossing. I know that's like a time sink. Like people
Yes, it will be.
put a lot of time and effort into those games. So it's like I don't know if I should, but yeah, it's like Nintendo's always been a part of my life growing up in some aspect, and I'm just glad that Switch is actually knocking it out of the park because. Like I said, I didn't give a shit about Wii or Wii U, so
Not at all.
I'm glad that Switch is like doing well and actually having good titles to support it. So
I mean, dude, Zelda has had such an impact in my life. I've named my son after a character.
Right.
So, yeah, what was your final thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, I was just gonna say we just got a lot of good things coming down the pipeline. I get excited at E3s, but I haven't been this excited for one specific company. Yeah, I don't even remember, like just title after title.
Since
that I was
Enron?
seeing.
Yes, it's it,
Right.
right?
I mean, just title after title. It's just like, I mean, we got a whole year of great stuff coming. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, too.
I think the best days are actually ahead of Nintendo. Like, I really do. I think some of the best years, we're probably coming into a golden age here, as long as they don't fuck anything up. Like, I know everybody will hold on to the classics nostalgia-wise, but seriously, like, I think the next decade, it's like, they're just going to change the fucking, the game on games. Like, I really, like, look, and I say that because I look at the other companies, and in my opinion, they just keep making all these mistakes to try to make money. And since I feel like Nintendo doesn't have to worry about money, they can focus on quality.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like, too, they're kind of like the other game systems are kind of like the movie industry right now, where they're just making these dog shit games and movies or whatever you want to call them, or rebooting stuff without actually rebooting it the right
Yeah.
way. and that's
Well,
what people are upset about.
It's like the same. It's the same thing with shitty movies that people keep going to see them. People keep paying to go see them, so they keep making them. It's like the most pre-ordered game after E3 was Call of Duty. Pokemon, the new Pokemon were in second place behind it, and you know how popular Pokemon is. So like, if that tells you how much people are still into Call of Duties, like the reason they keep making those shitty titles is because people keep buying them and keep playing them. It's like the EAs of the world will always exist as long as people keep buying their shitty games.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
I think something I noticed too, some final thoughts was someone brought up a statistic I read on Twitter talking about how bad the new Men in Black was and how bad the new Shaft was, which I didn't even know Shaft even came up with the new movie, by the way. Shaft.
Oh yeah, they did make the new one.
Yeah, and how they didn't put like any of the original characters or content in any of it, and they both movies spent like over $100 million making them. And dude, they haven't even made close to $100 million. They're like at $20 or $30 million for both movies.
I could tell by watching the trailer that new Men in Black was gonna be dog shit.
It just,
I still wanted it, like, because I like Tessa Thompson and I like Chris Hemsworth.
Well, so do
and
I.
I liked Thor Ragnarok. I
But
wanted it
but just 'cause you
to
throw-
be good.
but so
I
just-
really did. I wasn't rooting against it.
no, I mean there was but just because you throw two great characters in a movie, it's kind of hard. It's like you had Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in it. Like you got to have a little piece of them in there for something. Like, hey, we're handing off the reins to these guys now, or something happened. They didn't put any of that information in there. And I feel like that's why movies are just getting stale, man, to the point where like I don't even want to watch half the reboots they're making anymore because they're getting so lazy and bored with them.
I feel like with Men in Black, part of what made the first one so good, I can't really talk about the second or the third one. I think the third one was okay, the second one not so much, but was the chemistry between Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, like a cool young black guy and like an old
Well, dude,
stern.
it's your classic straight man, funny man.
Yeah, and like that's what kind of made those movies, and now you're throwing that out the window for
And then you're fish out of water, and then you're seasoned veteran.
yeah.
And it was just like so many, like they combined so many good tropes, and they did it in such a good way that it was just like, and Will Smith was so hot back then, like
Oh, yeah.
it was in his prime, and it was just like
Tommy
you
Lee Jones
can't-
is hilarious.
Like you can't recapture what they did, and
Well, some company go to that
they
point.
keep trying, but
they do.
can't.
It's the same thing with games, though. Now, like you're saying, like they make these games and they're rebooting stuff. And I'll say the only thing I will say, and I can't speak to it, and probably Brandon can the most, and probably you can say it more than me, is with the new World of Warcraft game. Going back to the vanilla regular Blizzard game, they're getting like they've waited 15 years to do this, whatever. And that's what I was bringing up. Like Red Shirt Guy was like really pushing, asking like, hey, when they're going to do this at one of their BlizzCons or something. I think they've done the game really well. From all the community and what I've been watching, I don't play the damn game, but I've been listening to a lot of the main people that stream World of Warcraft, and they're saying the game is really comparable, and they've added a couple new things that people have wanted. At least they're doing this game right. Like if they're going to bring back something, they're doing it right by the community and what they want. It seems like a lot of games they've rebooted over the years, and I can't really speak of what game off the top of my head, but that's something that's why don't people want reboots in games anymore?
I think, yeah, if you're going to remake a game, it's got to be like a true remake. Like if you just remaster it or remodel it, like it's not really a remake. It's just like an enhancement. Like one of the best remakes that I played recently was Resident Evil 2. Mm-hmm. It's like a completely different game, and it was like super polished and really good. But yeah, that's how you should remake a game. Like that Final Fantasy VII remake. I've never played the original, but the remake looks really good.
The remake's really cool. It's a different concept of what the bigger game was, but pretty much in the same stand. They upgraded into some other stuff, but yeah, the game looked really cool to play. So I think that's going to wrap up the old podcast here. Remember to smash that like button and follow us on Twitter and
Smash that